Hey, welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about whether or not you're truly connecting to your kids.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about, are you truly connecting to your kids? Oh man, this is for those of you who may be listening to this for the first time or have listened to all 130 of these episodes, this is what my book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, is all about. This is what this podcast is all about. I hope I share with you some of my challenges, but through my challenges, I hope that I gain a greater connection to my children, to my wife, to the people around me, better connection to my higher power, to my God. It's about connection. This whole life is about our connection to others and whether or not we feel loved, and more importantly, they feel loved by our presence, because we show them through our words and our actions how much we appreciate them and how much we or they mean to us. So I have a client, and a few years ago, when he had used my services for about a year, they were starting a new family, he and his wife. The baby was soon to be born. A lot of expenses were coming up. And as a life coach, he says, listen, man, it's been fantastic working with you. I've learned so much. I've grown so much. But with the baby coming, I just can't justify the cost. And I was like, oh, man, I completely understand. I said, if you ever have a change of heart, you ever need me for anything, if you just want to touch base and see how I'm doing, or if I may do the same thing to you, please, the best of luck in this parenting journey. If you need some tidbits around that, he was becoming a new father. I was like, man, just hit me up as a friend, because the connection between you and your daughter is going to be amazing. But it takes a little bit of work. So about a year later, we had a couple little minor exchanges via text or email. He hit me up and he says, my wife told me I needed to call you, and then I needed to hire you back. And I said, well, what's going on? He says, I almost hate to admit it, but the last year is the complete opposite of the year I worked with you. The baby was born. The beginning stages of that was crazy. My wife went through a little postpartum. I'm getting lost in my identity as a man and what I'm supposed to be. I feel like I need to be bringing home the bread and being the breadwinner. But I also want to be there emotionally for my wife. And to be honest with you, I feel like I'm becoming my father. Listen to that statement. I feel like I'm becoming my father. Because subconsciously, a lot of men, that's why I said Be the Dad You Wish You Had is the title of the book, which you could get at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com/free book. Go get your copy today. I want to send it out to you. You are going to have to pay the shipping and handling, but I am covering the cost of the book. See, most men say, I'm never going to be like my father if they didn't have a good relationship with their dad. And the universe or the world or your subconscious mind doesn't hear, I am not going to be. It hears, be like my father. The subconscious mind focuses on what you focus on. And if you focus on being the dad you wish you had, and you define that the way you choose to, for me, it was being fully present in my kids' lives. And I have parameters around that, I become that. But if I say I'm not going to be my dad, I'm actually going to become my dad. Because I don't know what anything else looks like. And I default to what I know. And many men default to what they know. And that is a father who runs, a father who is disconnected. So as he shared this with me, I said, well, let me ask you a question. You have hobbies. And I knew the answer to these because I had worked with him for a year. I said, what's your number one hobby you enjoy doing in your life? And he's like, man, I have an infatuation with music. For him specifically, hip hop. But in like 80s and 90s hip hop, he goes, but I love music. And I said, let me ask you a question. Do you think your daughter might love music? And he says, yeah. So let me backtrack here a second. So he said he's becoming like his dad, that he would come home from work and just plop on the couch because he didn't know how to interact with a 12-month-old baby. So then I asked him about his hobby and his passion, and I said, when was the last time you pulled out that DJing equipment you have? Because he was DJ'd a little bit too and had tens of thousands of songs plus, and that's on his hard drive, plus all the vinyl he had. He goes, man, I haven't turned tables and I don't know how long, probably since she got pregnant, maybe even before then. I said, so do you think your child might love music? He's like, yeah, but not the music I like. I said, do you like the music you like? He says, yeah. I said, do you think it'll put a smile on your face? Man, he's like, I love hip hop. I said, so why don't you play it for her? And as you bring joy to yourself, she's going to see the smile on daddy's face and she's going to want to join. And whatever movement you're doing, whether you're dancing or bopping or whatever, she's going to want to join because it's fun. It's fun to you, and music is universal. She may just fall in love with it, but in turn you two will fall in love with each other through your passion. I said, so your homework assignment going forward, now that we're working together, is that you need to play music with your daughter this week. So the following week came, and guess what? He had played music. He said it took him 2 hours to set up his equipment. He thought it was set up, and it hadn't been. But the connection that they had, the music that he played, the joy that he felt, the smile that she saw, the connection was the very beginning of a beautiful relationship of father and daughter that continues to this day through various other techniques that I've coached them on. But that's just one. So where's the topic of this? Connect to your child. Meet them at their level, and sometimes they can meet you at yours. But we need to be very conscious of doing this. So what he ended up on this week's coaching call, his daughter's 3, by the way, now, and they have an amazing relationship. One of his coworkers knows, it's a mom, knows what a great dad he has become and how much energy he puts into it, how he's so open to learning new techniques of connecting or developing as a human being, and parenting being one of the most important ones for him. So she says, I read this parenting book that I think you would love. She goes, and she has 4 children, a 17, a 13, a 9, and a 4-year-old. She said that the 4-year-old started to run the house, right? But she's not prideful enough to say, hey, I've done this 3 other times. There's something wrong with this kid. She thought to herself, there's a way that I can do better, and I'm going to buy a book. So she found a book, and she suggested it to him. She said within the first 3 days, through the first 2 chapters, her entire dynamic in her family has changed for the better. Not only is the 4-year-old responding differently, the whole family is, and it's due to the style of this parenting book. See, I never thought about it this way, but it's what I ask you guys to do. I don't ever say your child's wrong this way, your child's. I say connect to your child. I say create boundaries, create connection, look at them eye level, talk to them, no baby talk, read to them, you name it. It's in my book, 40 Powerful Lessons to Becoming a Powerful Dad. But it's geared towards dads and marketing towards dads, but it's universal to all parents. So be the dad you wish you had, 40 powerful lessons to becoming a great dad. So think about this. The book focuses on your relationship with yourself so that you could be better for your kids and how to connect to your kids. And he goes, I've already bought it, and I read the first chapter. It already had an amazing conversation with his daughter Lilia. And it went like this. He says they went to the gym one day. She usually goes to the play area. He goes and works out. And after he's done working out, they head to the pool. So they get to the pool. Or they get to the gym this day. And he looks at her and he says, Lilia, Daddy made a boo-boo. Uh-oh. What happened, Daddy? Daddy forgot your floaties for the pool. So I'm going to give you two options. Option number one, Lilia. We could get in the car now and we could go get your floaties. Or you could get in the pool with Daddy. I'll have you. You'll be safe. And maybe we can learn to swim like a big girl today. She goes, Daddy, I think I'm going to swim like a big girl today. So she went off to do her thing. He went off to do his thing. They come together afterwards. He picks her up. They go to the pool. And here's this little girl building trust with her father. But here's the father telling her exactly. He gave her choice. If she felt more comfortable, listen, he's connecting to her. What makes you feel more comfortable, young lady? Do you want your floaties or are you okay with just Daddy? I trust Daddy. Every ounce of that conversation to me just spews, I trust you, Daddy. We don't need to go get floaties. I have you. He says over the next 30 to 45 minutes while they were in the pool, she went from not being able to float on her own to swimming 8 to 10 feet all on her own by the end of this session in the pool. And each step got gradually better and better as she felt more and more comfortable, knowing that Daddy would catch her. Daddy would only be a foot away. Daddy would only be 2 feet away. Daddy would only be 3. And each step of that journey, he didn't go further than he thought and she thought she could. That's building connection. So I asked him what he would have done differently had he not read the book, and he said he didn't really know. This is someone who's really in tune with his daughter. But he thinks he would have been a little bit more frustrated with himself for having forgotten the floaties and probably would have said to her, instead of giving her a choice, hey, we're going to go in the pool today. And if she had fear around that, right? Listen, if she had fear around that, there'd be less trust. And if there's less trust, there wouldn't be all that growth because she's insecure. But because she felt safe and she feels, not just felt in that moment, but feels connected to her father, that connection is what got her to grow in that moment. But it's only because he allowed a space for connection. How do we connect to children? Look at them face to face, eye to eye. Do not stand over them in a way that they can feel intimidated. Do not be below them where they actually are in a dominant position to you, where they feel that they can dominate you. The best way I could describe this is I wrestle with my boys on the floor all the time, and as soon as I'm on the floor and they're standing over me, trust me, they think they have the upper hand. It's just a form of dominance. But to look someone in the eye and say, I trust you, do you trust me, means the world to a child because you are looking at them as an equal. That's chapter 5 of my book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had. Look at them eye to eye when you speak to them. So whenever I talk to my children, and this is building connection, right? We're connecting eye to eye, face to face. When we build that connection, it's a form of building trust. So the question to me, for me to you today is, are you really connecting to your children? Are you taking time? Are you asking good questions? Or are you just floating through life, making sure they have a roof over their head, a meal in their belly, and a decent night's sleep, and occasionally helping out with homework? Or are you really connecting and seeing what's going on in the world? Last point of this, and it's just coming up, and guys, and I know I rant. I go on these like rants and tangents, but just today, I have a lot to do. And my son says, Daddy, come look at what I'm doing. And he's probably playing a video game or watch something on TV, and he's so excited, and he look at this character. And I just look, and I said, oh, that looks cool. He's like, yeah, I know, right? And he went in his own little world for the next 10 minutes. I'm sitting right next to him. All I did was acknowledge and say that version of Bowser looked cool. But that was enough for him to get acknowledged. He didn't need a lot. He needed a moment of my time. The question is, are we connecting to their kids and diving into their world? Or are we being consumed and distracted by our own? I don't know jack about parenting, but I'd rather take a moment to build more trust than to devote hours to something, a company, a boss, a job, a book that may provide little to no value when it comes to relationship with my child. We'll see you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.